This is problem number 7 for Mac 1140, exam 2. In this problem, they go ahead and they give you the equation of a circle, and they want to know what is the center and the radius. So in this format, we can't readily find the center and the radius. So what we want to do is use completing the square to rearrange it in the correct format. We're actually going to have to do completing the square twice, once for the x's and once for the y's. So that's what you should do, is try to isolate the x's and isolate the y's. Also, when completing the square, you can't have any coefficients out front of the squared terms. So what we can do is we should actually just divide through by 2 to begin with. So if you divide through by 2, you're just going to get x squared plus y squared minus 2x plus 3y. And that equals negative 1/2. Now if we group the x's and group the y's, you could say this is x squared minus 2x, and leave a little space here because we're going to need that in a second. And you can just go ahead and do plus, and then group the y's, so you'd have y squared plus 3y, leave a little bit of space, equals the negative 1/2. So now we're set up to use completing the square. Completing the square, all it says is take the middle term, cut it in half, and square it. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, and when you square it, it's positive 1. So you can go ahead and add plus 1 here. Now if you add plus 1 here, you have to add plus 1 to the other side of the equation, because everything needs to remain balanced. Here, you can cut the 3 in half, giving you 3 halves, and when you square it, that gives you 9/4. So you add the 9/4 to the other side as well. And now we're ready to actually simplify and get into a format where we can easily read the center and the radius. Here, you should be able to go ahead and write it as x plus a number squared. Now what is that number here? Well, that's got to be negative 1. It's always just the middle term cut in half. Completing the square allows you to rewrite a quadratic in a format where it factors apart into 2 of the same item. So we have this here, and we can do the same step over here. This is just going to be y plus or minus some number squared. And what's that number? Well, we said it was going to be the middle term cut in half, so that's just going to be plus 3 halves. So there's that, and then on the other side we can just go ahead and add them up. We know that negative 1/2 plus 1 is positive 1/2, and then you have 9/4. So this really is going to be 1/2 plus 9/4. You would want to go ahead and get a common denominator, so the 1/2 is actually 2/4. 2/4 plus 9/4 is 11/4. Okay, and then now we can go ahead and read this, because this is supposed to be the x-coordinate of the center, the y-coordinate of the center, and this is supposed to be what the radius squared is. So that means your x-coordinate is going to be 1, because it's whatever makes this go to 0. So it's going to be 1, this is going to be negative 3 halves. So that's your center. 1 comma negative 3 halves. Now your radius, we said, was this guy squared, or the radius squared is this guy, so you want to square root this. So when you square root the 11, that's just going to be square root of 11, but when you square root to 4, you actually get a 2. So the radius is just going to be square root 11 divided by 2. And that's the answer to the problem.